Yes, guys, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. We have a massive update on Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. Both of them are back from injury and they will be available for Manchester City, at least according to the information that we've got. Gabriel Martinelli trained today. There is no information that Bukayo Saka trained today, but the information we have is that Bukayo Saka will as well be available as Arsenal take on Manchester City on Sunday the 31st. That means that Arsenal will have both of these two as we wait for Bayern, home and away, and that's a major update. But the other major update as well, guys, is about the channel. We are rebranding and we are actually changing a bit of graphics. So in order for you to help you navigate the channel easily and navigate the internet easily as you find us, this is how the new look of the channel looks like. The channel is now called the Cossy Arsenal Podcast, and that is the logo. That is the channel art as well. So if you are looking for Cossy Arsenal, you will find the channel called the Cossy Arsenal Podcast with yellow, a bit of white as well. And yeah, so that is the new look, and I really love it. I hope you guys will love it as well. We really preparing to be a little bit more consistent. I mean, many people have complained about my consistency, and I would love to do that. So we'll start with the change in graphics, and I hope you guys will love it as well. Now, the big story obviously tonight is that these two will actually be available for Arsenal as we wait for Manchester City and as we wait for Bayern, home and away. Now, I really can't express how important Martinelli and Saka are for Arsenal. But we've talked about it before. When we talked about the injury crisis that we were kind of heading into with Gabriel Martinelli not being available and also with Bukayo Saka not being readily available. And I said that the one thing that scares me is that these two players are irreplaceable. What they do and what they offer to this Arsenal side is purely irreplaceable. You look at Saka, you look at Gabriel Martinelli, who has not actually given you the numbers from last season, but still his impact in this Arsenal side is unprecedented. With Bukayo Saka, I'm short of words to describe his impact at this Arsenal side. The amount of goals he scores, the amount of chances he creates, he's an important player. So what we're going to do in this video, obviously, is to give you the news, but also to explain why Saka and Gabriel Martinelli are key to Arsenal's progressing in the Champions League, but also to our progress in the Premier League. It is heating up, guys. We are left with a couple of maybe 3-4 good days before we get back to the Premier League action, and everyone is excited. Everyone is waiting for what's gonna come out of these last 10 games. And Arsenal cannot afford not to have Gabriel, not to have Martinelli, and not to have Saka as well. So it's a major story that comes out today. I think the biggest one actually is that although he was on clutches, I don't know whether you call them clutches or crutches, Gabriel Martinelli did have a bit of training today. Now, this is a story that has been really kept very well kept by Arsenal. They've been secretive about the updates on Gabriel Martinelli, and I think generally Arsenal are really managing the news about these injured players very well. We have seen Tomiyasu play for around 45 minutes and we have seen Partey play for around 60 minutes, which means that they're actually much better. They played behind closed doors against QPR, although we lost 4-0. And again, in the recent trainings, we have seen Gabriel Jesus, who didn't join up with Brazil. We have seen Tomiyasu, who didn't join up with Japan, and we also seen Thomas Partey, who didn't join up with Ghana. They have all been getting involved. They've all been taking part in these Arsenal trainings as we prepare for Manchester City. So there is a massive boost there. And I think the one question was, are we also going to have Saka and Gabriel Martinelli? So you guessed it right when we did the Saka news, the Saka breaking story. You guessed it absolutely right that Saka is not actually really badly off. Now, I think the people who say he's not injured are wrong. Saka is one of the most kicked players in the Premier League. Actually, this season, he is the most kicked player in the Premier League. So when he is in possession, there is no player who has been fouled and kicked more than Bukayo Saka. And I think he deserves more protection, and I think the English referees will understand how important this guy is to England as a nation as well. So I think the injury for Saka has been there, and it is there. And I think he's not going to get time for it to heal. Why? Because you have these 10 games that are going to be really hectic. coming in thick and fast, around 4 or 5 of them, coming in April. Then you have 2 fixtures as well for the Premier League, for the Champions League in April. So that's around 7 fixtures for Bukayo Saka to participate in for Arsenal in April only. And that means that he will have another set of 7 fixtures in May before he goes to join up England for the Euros. So the injury is there, and he's not going to have enough time to actually deal with it until Arsenal signs someone in the summer. But the most important thing and the most important story right now is that both of them are back. So let's do a flashback to the first game that we played against Manchester City. And I think one of you made a very good point in the comment box below on my first video about Saka's injury. And you said, I don't remember who it was, but you said that we have beaten Manchester City without Saka this season. And I tell you that is true. And I tell you as well that the Manchester City you play at the beginning of the campaign and the Manchester City that plays during the business end of the season, those are 2 different sides. Those are 2 different outfits, and those are 2 different teams. Now, City will have their injury concerns as well. You have Kyle Walker, who is a doubt. You have maybe Kevin De Bruyne, who has not really recovered full match fitness, and then you have the likes of maybe Erling Haaland, who, I mean, there have been rumors that he could have, he could have picked up, a small injury. But with Saka, for Arsenal, he must be there. We are going to the Etihad. This is a very different game. This is the importance of this game, the significance, the magnitude, and the intensity and the level of this game. And it's going to be absolutely different. This is going to be the epitome of Arteta versus Jurgen Klopp. This is going to be the best we have seen of Pep Guardiola versus Mikel Arteta. Forget Jurgen Klopp for a moment. This is going to be the best encounter between these 2 managers, the teacher and the student. Because right now, Arsenal are in much better form as compared to Manchester City. But we know the quality City have. We know the manager. We know, the experience. We know the pedigree. We know all these beautiful things that they have. And, we know all these beautiful ingredients they can actually to add to their game and enhance it, right? So for me, I don't know, but Saka is got to, be active. And he's got to be able to play and play well in this game. So for City, I think Saka will be there. The one I'm really scared about is Gabriel Martinelli. And I think with Gabriel Martinelli, it's evident. We saw what happened in the first game. Didn't play 90 minutes, just came on for a few minutes. And the impact he had in that game, marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. He scores the winner. Probably doesn't score the winner, but he sets up the deflection on, I think, Nathan Ake, and then it goes in of his deflection. But with Gabriel Martinelli against Manchester City, he is going to be a key component for us. He is going to be a key player for us in that game. Just imagine him running and making those direct runs against, whether it's going to be Josko Gvardiol or Kyle Walker, or it's going to be, I don't care who it's going to be. With Gabriel Martinelli, you have an assured runner, a willing runner, past defenders, but also you've got a player who's got a very unique skill set that no one in this Arsenal side has. And that is the ability to take on players in wide areas, beat them, and still have the sense to deliver quality. So we've seen it with players like Jeremy Doku. He will beat you, he will have the trickery, but in the end, his end product is absolutely bogus. That is one thing that Arsenal really gets in Gabriel Martinelli's presence on the pitch, that he will beat a man, but his productivity and his end product is absolutely fantastic. And of course, the other thing is his speed. He's really, really lightning quick. You expect Manchester City to be on the ball on a couple of occasions. So what I mean there is that City will have the possession, maybe about 65, maybe about 55% to 65%. And that will work in the favor of Arsenal because we are able to contain Manchester City. We are able to contain teams and not allow chances to be, leaked into our system. So that means that if Arsenal can allow Man City in their own half, that will create space for us to run in behind, and that will create a space for us to use our runners. That is Saka and Gabriel Martinelli, and that is why Gabriel Martinelli is a more important player than Leandro Trossard, and it's why we have to have Martinelli, not Trossard, in this game. Now, Martinelli can come off maybe in the second half, probably to manage his injury, or he's not actually done well, or all things like that, but you would rather him start, right? Because Man City will want to pounce on us, and they will want to get an early goal, and we have to create an early threat by running in behind. And the guy that can actually do that is Bukayo Saka, and of course, Gabriel Martinelli, in my opinion. So these two coming back just raises our chances of maybe getting a point or even winning this game. At the moment, it looks like City at around maybe 50% or 55% to win the game. If you don't want to go to the Etihad without your best players, you don't want to go to the Etihad without your best attacking double or duo. It doesn't make any sense, and you actually don't stand a chance. But why I think Gabriel Martinelli, and where I think Martinelli is going to be very, very key for Mikel Arteta and very important for Mikel, is the Bayern Munich game. And I pray, again, because it's between Manchester City and Bayern, first leg, that is 9 days away, right? That is 9 days away, because we play Manchester City on the 31st and we take on Bayern on the 9th of April. So that's a difference of around 8 games, actually 8 days, right? So it means that if he can't play against Manchester City, there will be a major doubt, and he will be a major doubt that he will be, for the Bayern game. And that is what you do not want, right? Bayern and City play kind of a very different style, in my opinion. I don't know whether Thomas Tuchel will change it up when it comes to the Emirates Stadium. Probably be a little bit more defensive, or be a little bit more pragmatic, or be more attacking. We will wait and see. But with Bayern, one thing we have seen is that you can easily expose them by exploiting the spaces in behind. And again, the one player that you trust to do that single-handedly, if you don't do it as a team, the one player you trust to do that is Gabriel Martinelli. So I think Arsenal have got to be really, really prepared, and it's going to have Mikel Arteta in a very different and difficult position, kind of no man's land. If you have Gabriel Martinelli not 100% fully fit, do you sacrifice him for the Manchester City game and you leave him out, right? Or do you actually play him against Man City, maybe 40, maybe 50 minutes, and then you play him against Bayern for around 56 minutes, right? What is the priority for Mikel Arteta? This is going to be the key determinant. I think what he does with Gabriel Martinelli is going to show us where his loyalties lie when it comes to what he wants to win more. With Saka, durable. Absolutely durable. He will play both games. He will play Bayern and he will play Manchester City. I'm not even afraid of that. But with Gabriel Martinelli, we know he can get injured, and we know that those injuries can actually be pretty bad. So what we want to do, and what we want to do, is to manage him and manage those injuries so that he doesn't actually, we don't escalate it, right? Because again, there are more games for us to play. You have Tottenham, you have Aston Villa, you have Manchester United. You don't want him to be ruled out for the rest of the campaign. So for us in order to achieve that, Mikel Arteta might find himself in a dilemma. Does he rest him against Man City? Does he play him against Bayern? And for me, this is what I would do. And it's quite very, very unpopular with you guys. I would rotate him for the Manchester City game. I would leave him out for the Manchester City game. If he's not 100% fully fit, I would leave him out for the Manchester City game, and I'll play him in the Bayern Munich game. Why? Because I think City winning this game will go 2 points clear of Arsenal. And that puts us in a good position as chasers. Now, you can't chase Manchester City and you will never catch them. Like we've seen Liverpool chase and chase and chase and chase, and Manchester City just keep on winning. But this is kind of a different season. And I've said that Arsenal have a major chance, now that we are on top of the table, we have a major chance of just collecting points, and eventually tiring Manchester City of chasing, and tiring Liverpool of chasing as well. So I think whatever happens, we can leave out Gabriel Martinelli against Manchester City and play him against Bayern. Because for me, that is the game that he is rest assured to score and create a major impact. With Man City, I think they can deal with them. I think Guardiola is a smart manager. I think Man City have the best squad in the world right now. They have the best players individual quality in the world right now. With Bayern, they have injury concerns. You have Manuel Neuer injured. You have Harry Kane, he's a doubt, and then you have such a boy who is a doubt as well. So I think we better deal with Bayern at the Emirates Stadium in the right way, because even if we don't beat Manchester City, I think Liverpool will drop points somewhere, and I think Man City will drop points somewhere as well. And I also think Arsenal can grab a point against Manchester City, even if we do not, have Gabriel Martinelli. But of course, I want your thoughts there in the comment box below. What you think about these two, and do you think them being available and them being able to play just adds Arsenal a major boost like I do? Because I really, really think they might be the difference. I think Gabriel and Saliba have been really good, but Arsenal's difference this season could be Gabriel Martinelli and Saka's recoveries from injury.